Hi everyone, this is Jiggie, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So in this video, I want to discuss the importance of really understanding what your gear can do in order for you to be able to create your vision, such as what I did in order for me to be able to capture this image. So before anything else, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, now is the perfect time to do so because I am still giving away a beautiful backdrop from Kate Backdrop. This is a 1.5 meter by 2 meter collapsible dual-sided non-reflective backdrop, and the beautiful thing about this giveaway is that I will allow the winner to choose whatever design that they want. So with that out of the way, we are here now in a beautiful resort called Casa La Ia in Batangas, and I basically pinpointed this area in which I want to shoot in. Now the problem with this particular area that I want to shoot in is that visually, as I see it in my eye, everything is properly exposed. The highlights are controlled, the shadows are out, but that's the problem of our cameras. They can't really do they can't really see what our eyes see, especially in very tricky lighting situations like this. Now, that is where the dynamic range comes in. You guys have heard about dynamic range so often, and this is really a practical application of what that really means. In other words, if I say that my camera, or I know my Sony Alpha 1, has a dynamic range of about 3-4 stops in the shadow side, I can really underexpose this scene and control my highlights, knowing that I can bring out the shadows in post. So that's exactly what I will be doing today. I am shooting and lighting specifically to underexpose the shadows in order for me to pop a light and properly expose my subject's face, and I will bring up the highlights in post-production because I know I can, because I know my camera can. Now, the flash that I will be using is my Sony f60RM. I actually have two, but to be honest, one is enough. But I don't want to really shoot at full power, that's why I decided to just use two. And the modifier that I'm using is my Magbod Magbox with a focus diffuser because I want to limit the spill of my light. So the camera that I am using is my Sony Alpha 1 with an 85mm 1.4 GM lens. The reason why I'm using an 85mm is I want that compression and I want to bokeh the background. That's why I want to shoot at 1.4. Now I am shooting at 1.4 now with the help of this one. This is a Hoya ND32 filter which cuts about 5 stops of light, and that allows me to shoot within my flash sync speed of my camera, therefore not really asking too much from my flash so that I don't need to go on high speed sync. So right now the settings without the ND filter is 1/250 f5.6. When I put the ND filter, it goes down to 1/250 f1.4. So therefore I am now within my flash sync speed. What else? My flash power is now set at 1/2. My white balance I set at daylight, but most likely I will change that in the middle of the shoot in order for me to get a warmer tone and make it seem as if it were sunset. Okay, and then I'm shooting RAW plus JPEG, and that's basically it. So I guess it's time for me to call in my model. Babe, come on in. Okay, so right now I have my flash set at 1/4 power, because I have two f60RM set there so that I'm not overpowering my flash too much. And they're beautiful. Look at that. Can you move slightly towards here? Or slightly towards center of there. Okay, perfect. Then face your body a bit towards me. There, and then lean there. Then look there. Okay, so now you're seeing that we're getting some very nice highlights on Coco. And we have now the flash just popping a light on her face. Very, very subtle, but sometimes that's all you need when you've got beautiful light like this already. There. Beautiful, beautiful. Now my white balance I think is a little bit off. I think I'll put it maybe to shade to make it warmer. Now I don't need to gel my flash anymore because our existing ambient light is more or less at 5600 Kelvin. So that's actually the color temperature of my flash also. So I am giving it a warmer tone in order to mimic as if the sun was already setting. Look towards your left a bit, but still the same pose so I can see more of your beautiful face there. I love it. And perfect, and that was it. That's how simple it is, but the key to this one is really maximizing the dynamic range of this particular camera. So it's very, very important that you know what your camera is capable of doing, and that's why I keep on saying that gear is really very essential to a photographer, especially if you know how to use it. In other words, I know very well that the dynamic range of my camera can give me about 3 to 4 stops of my shadows, so I can shoot this underexposed just to be able to control the light going towards Coco's face. And if I need to bring this out in post, which I will show you guys now, I will. So my primary RAW conversion software for now is Adobe Camera Raw, because the files from the Sony Alpha 1 is still not supported by Capture 121. So now, as you can see, this is what I meant. So visually, when I looked at this image using my eyes, the highlights were controlled this way, but the shadows were not as dark as they are here. And that is what I was referring to earlier, the difference between what our eye can see and what the camera can actually capture. But our cameras are getting there, except that they can't really just decode it the way we would normally decode it, but the information is there, and that is what your dynamic range is for. Now I will show you, basically, I could give you a lot of hoopla on exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, whites, blacks, and how to adjust each thing individually. But to be honest, every time I start with my edits, especially with images like this, I just do this. I press auto. And look at what happens. All of a sudden, the software interpolates all the shadows and the highlights, and it balances the image out. As is, I actually already like it. I normally start my editing process this way, just by pressing auto. Then I manually adjust it. Let's say, for example, I think the shadows are a little bit too much. This should be okay. My highlights are, I want it a bit brighter. I don't want it to be subdued. Now white balance, it's at 3200 now. Let's see. See, this is how the scene originally looked like visually. And as I've always said in previous videos, and I'm going to say it again, white balance is indeed subjective. And for me, setting my white balance the way I did as I shot it was really to be able to create the warmth to make it seem like the sun was setting. Now, you could also see that the light was here peeping, but it's going to be an easy fix in Photoshop, which we are going to do now, because I think generally I am happy with the way this image turned out. So we open up the image now in Photoshop for some general cleaning. So now we have our image opened up here in Photoshop. The first thing I always do is to do a general overview of the image itself. To be honest, I don't see anything wrong with it, except for maybe the light here, and maybe, I don't even need to make her brighter. I think she's okay, but let me see how it will turn out. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I press Command J to make a new layer so that I don't touch this background layer, and then I will get my clone stamp tool, and I will basically just clone areas here to be able to remove the light. So that was quite an easy fix. Let me see, or we could try to do the patch tool, which might make it cleaner. There we go. I think that was a cleaner edit than the clone stamp tool. Now let's see, like this image, this one, I'm nitpicking already because there's nothing really to do with this image anymore. I actually like it as is. So let's just try to tweak how it looks visually. Basically, I think I can just add a curves layer and maybe bring out a bit of the highlights there on Coco's face, and then mask it and slowly brush it in with a low opacity brush. Bring down the opacity to about 37%. And just see if I could highlight a bit more of her. There we go. Now, do I want to make it darker? Let me see how it will look like. Let's add another curves layer, and let's make the background darker and make her pop out a little bit more. But to be honest, I'm not too fond of it. But we can play around with that one. Mask it again and just darken certain parts
of the image to focus more on her. Just this part here. Low opacity brush. But to be honest, I'm already nitpicking because I actually like the image a lot already. But these little things might make it look better. Alright, perfect. Then afterwards, I press Command-Alt-E to create a merge layer from all those adjustment layers. And then from there, I'm going to run an action set basically to sharpen the image. After which, I'll create a layer mask black so that it removes all the sharpening. Then I will go and sharpen the images, the parts of the images that I want to sharpen, such as this case, I will sharpen just the hair, the eyes, the mouth, and the clothes. Oops, I forgot. Bring back the opacity to 100%. There. There. And then the dress. Oh, by the way, I want to give a special shout out to our friend Micah Limchok for providing Coco with her outfit, and at the same time to Carmela Jimenez for virtually assisting Coco put on her makeup for this shoot. So how does Mela virtually assist Coco? Basically, they go online via Zoom and she teaches Coco how to do her makeup. Pretty cool, right? I'll put their links in the description below. Alright, so that's basically it.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow the mechanics in the description below in order for you guys to have a chance to win that beautiful backdrop that I am giving away. Okay, so till the next video,